Of all the games, Rube, that have played out behind me, Lambeau Field, this was certainly one of them.
Yeah, it was different. It was not the game I expected, but, you win a game, you get out of there, and you try to figure some things out when you get home, but if it's gonna be that kinda game, may as well win it.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you're gonna play an ugly game, you come out on the winning side of it. You feel better about it. The Eagles do win this one, 10-7. That's right, 10-7. It was 3-0 for a lot. Pretty deep into this game. This Eagle Eye podcast brought to you by Nissan. Reuben Frank and Dave Zangaro. Kind of a wild game, Rube. Just very strange.
Yeah, to put it mildly, from start to finish, and, yeah, I don't even know where to start here. The offense just never got going. Really, it was 2 the offense was 2 plays back to back. The Saquon spin move, 41-yarder, and then Devontae touchdown, back-to-back plays. That was their offense. I mean, that was pretty much it. A couple other decent plays, but that's all they needed. It got a little hairy at the end, like it always does with this team.
Ooh.
Um, well, I don't know how early you wanna talk about Nick's decision on that 4th and 8. Um, I didn't understand his answer when he was asked about it. There were a lot of words there, but I'm not sure what he was saying. Um, he talked about not kicking a field goal, but you're allowed to punt. Um, were you in there for Nick? Did you have a chance to get in there?
Yeah, and then I followed up with that play call in particular. Uh, yeah, because like that's worked for them at times, but it's just not like a high percentage play. Uh, and it's tricky because it has worked for them. We saw it in Minnesota, right? Like they iced
Yeah.
the game with it, but yeah, I was really surprised they went. It was funny. They were conservative when I didn't think they should have been conservative, and aggressive when I didn't think they should be aggressive.
Yeah, and that's true. They've hit that kind of play in the past, but this was a situation where the risk reward. I mean, it's a low percentage play, even with Devontae, even with Jalen, and
Well, that one was to AJ.
to AJ. You're right, or to Devontae. It's still a low percentage play, but yeah, um, I just I think right in that situation, was there 33 seconds left? I feel like if you punt it, Braden Man puts it down to the 10. So that's 25 more yards they've got to go, and they have half a minute left. I feel in that situation, the yardage is more important than maybe you score, maybe on a 10% play. Um,
I mean,
on
it
a
wasn't
dig
about scoring. It was about trying to get a first down to ice it.
Sure, but there's higher percentage 4th down plays too. You have Dallas Goedert, that kind of thing. But I just think in that situation, there should be a premium on field position and making it as hard as possible for the Packers to drive the field, and I thought the way to do that was to punt it. I think Braden Mann can pooch it. If not, I'd rather be at the 20 than the 33. I just thought punting was the right thing to do there. There's too much time left you know, to to take that risk in that situation, which even with those guys is not a high percentage play, and especially on a day when the offense wasn't really clicking, the Packers defense was pretty good. You're giving them good field position. Now, look, they ended up with a, 64-yard field goal attempt. It wasn't even close, but to me, just having an opportunity to kick a field goal, it never should have come to that. Um, and I didn't really understand his answer. Maybe we'll have a chance to follow up at some point, but I just thought that was the wrong thing to do in that situation.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there were certain coaching things in this game that, it's funny. I do my grades and I'm going through and I'm like, each position group wasn't that bad when you look at it individually, but like the offense just was sputtering. And like, why was it sputtering? Uh, I think a bunch of different reasons. I think they did shoot themselves in the foot. I think there were some bad penalties, put them behind the sticks. But I also thought, like, how many times do we need to watch the Will Shipley run on 3rd and long? You get it, like, but you're willing to be aggressive in certain situations because you have AJ Brown or you have Devontae Smith. There were moments early in the game where I thought they could have been more aggressive to maybe get themselves out of a funk that they were in instead of the coward's draw.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree, and I think sometimes you get into a game like that, and the mindset is, if we go 3 and out and punt, that's like the second best option right here, as opposed to, like, if you turn a like, 1 turnover in that game, could be the game, and so you play close to the vest, you play conservative, you run 3 plays and then punt it and put it in the hands of your defense that's playing really well, so I think that might have been some of Kevin Patullo's thinking, but I didn't like it. I think you got we've talked about this before in different games. I mean, you have to stay aggressive. You have to do what got you there, and they didn't do that, except, yeah, when they shouldn't have. So,
They did win the game. They're 7-2. They won the game coming off the bye week. So I don't want us to be like we're kind of struggling with the same thing the team struggles with, right? Like they win. How happy should they be? They didn't play to their standard. What tone should we set on a post game pod after a game like that? Because you were right at the top of the show. Like they won the game, and this is a tough Packers team. This is a game that, when we're talking about the NFC, I mean it could loom really large.
yeah.
And the fact that they won this game is a really big deal. But I think there are some concerning things. We're in Week 10, and offensively, there are still some serious issues. Now, in this game, they were without their starting center. They were without Lane Johnson for most of the game, so you can kind of explain away some of that with those absences. But yeah, in general, I think that offensively they struggled to find a rhythm. And the one time they had a rhythm was on that first drive, and it was that costly turnover, uh, which it was a nice play by Edrin Cooper, the punch out. It was a really good defensive play, but it really did. It felt like they never got that momentum back offensively that they lost when they lost the football there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and excuse me, I don't think I mean, Jalen seemed to have the ball secured. He just made a nice play. I was on the 14-yard line, where he fumbled, so, they would have had a 1st and 10 on the 14. They punched it in there, maybe it's a whole different game, but that it just wasn't meant to be, and then after that, it was just it just took they just couldn't do anything on offense, and, Saquon got his usual hot start, and he averaged 4.7 in the 1st quarter, and then he was averaged like 2.0 the rest of the game. It's happened a lot of games, follow that same pattern. I'm not sure if I don't know why it is, but but yeah,
I really liked that first drive, though. There was some variety. They were doing different
yeah.
things.
Well, what
And
happened? And they were behind the sticks a lot of penalties, a lot of pre-snaps.
yeah, that stuff hurt them in this game for sure.
Yeah,
Now, sometimes I do think it becomes like a convenient reason for them to turtle. Like, we were behind the sticks. What do you want us to do? It's like, well, you still have playmakers. You can be aggressive getting behind the sticks. I know it's not ideal. And especially, I kind of get it in a game like this because
yeah.
it is such a defensive game. You do have to like pick your moments to take risks because you don't want to have huge negative plays either, because your defense was playing. And I start. At what point in this game did you start looking up the last shutout?
Yeah, yeah, I never did. Um, I assume was it that Washington game?
Yeah.
Yeah, 23 nothing.
I think it was 24. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of had that in the back of my mind. Um, yeah, I didn't think they were gonna shut him out. The Packers were moving the ball in second half at times.
A little bit.
Let's can we talk about the defense? Something a little more upbeat?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to talk about whatever.
Okay. Oh, well, let's talk about your 100 favorite Guided by Voices songs.
That'd be tough for me.
You said whatever.
About
Um,
football, please.
I thought the defense was terrific, and the new guys really I mean, especially Jalen Phillips and Nolan Smith, the new guy, hadn't played in a month and a half. They were both really good. I don't think Nolan played more than, what, about 15 snaps? Um,
Yeah, I think they brought him back slowly.
yeah, which I get. Jalen Phillips played a lot. He was
He
getting close
played a
to 40.
ton. Yeah, he
He was
started the game too.
he was around 40 snaps last time I checked.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, the snap counts disappeared off my screen, but, um, you just kinda get a feel for what their edge I mean, they've gone from the edge being a real weakness to, you know, being a strength, and Jalen Phillips was everywhere. I thought he was for a guy who just got here on Wednesday, start practicing on Thursday. I know he played in Vic's scheme a couple years ago in Miami, but man, he was playing the run, he was physical, he was all over the field. What an addition. If he can keep playing like that, and why wouldn't he? I was really impressed. He's gonna be a big difference maker.
Yeah, he was awesome in this game. 6 tackles, 2 quarterback hits, the tackle for loss, and the fumble recovery, which,
Yeah.
I meant to ask him about that. I bet you there was some shady stuff going on at the bottom of that pile for him to emerge with that football.
Well, it
Uh,
looked
ho
like he was on it early, but
mm.
yeah, who knows what happened, and they were in there. That was a long time before they got it extricated.
Yeah, he played tough. He's a fun player. It's funny. When they traded for Jalen Phillips, I had someone ask me like for a comp player wise. I'm like thinking about like the guys I've covered, and I was like maybe like a Jadeveon Clowney early in my career, like just a bigger edge rusher. I was like, oh wait a second, Josh Sweat.
Yeah,
I mean, he just reminds you of Josh Sweat, and he kind of is going to play that role for this team. Just a big bodied defensive end who's really tough against the run. They ended up taking away that forced fumble because it was Reed Blankenship's helmet to knock the football out, but that was his play. I mean,
yeah,
he made it. He made so many plays in this game.
he did, and he's only gonna get better, and, I like that he came in and played a lot. He's been playing a lot. I know there was talk about his snaps being limited. I mean, he played, at least 40 snaps, so that was good to see. Can't wait to see where he goes from here. Um, love his energy, just love he was he was just so active, he was just running around every play, just doing something, looking for somebody to hit. I was really impressed. We don't see a lot of Dolphins games up here. Um, they're usually playing at 1 o'clock when the Eagles are playing. They don't have a lot of night games because they're the Dolphins and they haven't won a playoff game in 25 years. I just think it's got to be so just inspiring for a guy like Jalen Phillips to go from such a lost franchise with no hope. And I know they had a nice win over the Bills, but to go from that to a franchise that's really the standard in the league. And not only that, now you have really good players around you. Um, I mean, he just looked rejuvenated.
Yeah, watching that line tonight with him and Jalen Carter and Morrow, who's playing really well, and Jordan Davis, who's playing well.
Alex,
Jalix got that big sack, and that was a Jalen Phillips pressure that kind of
yeah,
flushed the quarterback into Jalix Hunt, who finished it up. And by the way, Jalix Hunt almost took out the referee with his celebration.
saw that.
What happens if he just knocks out the ref with a celebration?
5-yard penalty.
He was really close,
Yeah. Um,
but that defensive line looked great.
yeah, they look great, and I thought Jordan Love, who's a really talented kid, I just saw by the second half, I mean, he just wanted to get rid of the ball and get out of there. They didn't get a ton of sacks. Would they have 3 sacks? I'm not even sure. I think it
Yeah,
was
they had
3.
it was 3. It was Jalix, Nolan Smith, and and then the Nakobe Dean on the blitz through the A gap on the
Right.
forced fumble.
Jacoby played great. Jacoby was really good. Um, it's kind of the closest that he's been to 2024 Nakobe. I was really impressed with him. I mean, the whole Adoree Jackson gets to start at corner and hung in there. Um, he got bailed out by a drop or 2.
Yeah.
Um, they all did.
A team that doesn't really have receivers right now other than
Yeah,
Christian Watson.
yeah, yeah. Matthew Golden didn't play. Obviously, they missed Tucker Craft a ton. Um, yeah. So
Still no Jaden Reed.
yeah, Antonio Freeman was out. Um, but but look, we've seen him get beat by mediocre receivers too. So it was good. I think this is a game where the pressure really made it easier for the corners and for the D backs. I mean, Cooper was all over the place.
Not his best game.
I thought Reed had his best game of the year. I thought Reed was really good. It was just this is like the what's the word? The prototype for what this defense can do. Tremendous pressure, um, and and tackle well. Didn't give up any big plays. I think Jordan Love's longest pass was 22 or 23 yards, something like that. Um, it was just all around solid effort by the defense, and they're just gonna get better. That's the thing, they're still the youngest well, they're not the youngest defense in the league anymore, thank you, BG. They're up a little bit once you add a 37-year-old guy and average it out, but they're very young, they're gonna get better, um, and I've said this all along, I think by the end of the year, this is gonna be a top 5 defense, and I didn't see anything today that gonna change my mind.
I'm totally with you. And we should mention in this game, they went with the Dory Jackson outside. Keely Ringo did get some time. I don't know if there was an injury with the Dory. Did they show anything on the broadcast?
No, and I know, like, going into the 4th quarter, he had not played any defensive snaps, so maybe maybe later in the game.
Yeah,
Oh,
Keely got out there a little bit.
I think Quinyon limped off the field at one point.
He did. So Quinyon got hurt early in this game. It actually looked pretty scary. It was on that deep ball to
Yeah.
Christian Watson, and he got up real slow. And you're going, man, if there's a guy on defense they can't afford to lose, it's probably Quinyon Mitchell. But he ended up playing through it. I was wondering if they would test him a little bit, and they really kind of didn't. Not as much as I expected for a guy who might have been a little hobbled, but he was able to play through that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were afraid to test anybody. I mean, Jordan Love loves throwing the ball deep, and he's pretty good at it, and I mean, by the second half, they weren't taking any shots because they were probably afraid he was just gonna get he's gonna be a sitting duck. I thought that was huge. I thought limiting their big plays in the passing game and again, Tucker Kraft was the guy, who got a lot of them, but they wanna throw it deep, and I think the Eagles' run defense has gotten better the last few games. They've held teams under 4 yards a carry. I think Josh Jacobs ended up at 3.5 yards a carry. Um, yeah, I mean, the touchdown was a nice run, but for the most part, they shut down their running game, and they've been very good since the Minnesota game against the run. They were awful up until then. I mean, they were one of the worst in the league, and over the last 3 weeks, they've been one of the best in the league. So, a lot of really encouraging stuff on defense, and they're fun to watch. I mean, this is the kind of team like this is like '91 when they had like the best defense in the league and the worst offense in the league, and they're not those two extremes, but this is a team where if you're a fan, you're probably like more excited when the defense is on the field.
Yeah, in this game for sure. I
Yeah,
mean, the defense played well. Jordan Love finished 20 for 36, 176 yards, passer rating of 68.8. He had some scrambles in there,
yeah,
beat them a few times, but they did a nice job on him. Christian Watson had 2 for 45. He did have that one catch called back, an illegal formation, was it, or illegal procedure? Uh, it was a 22-yarder that got called back because of it. I guess one of their biggest plays was the DPI on Jahad Campbell down the left sideline. He just got there early.
yeah. It was the right call.
Yeah.
That's a tough ask, but he's good at it. He's pretty good in coverage. I think, I'm just looking at the Packers numbers here. Yeah, I mean, that's a dangerous offense, and it's not a great offense, and obviously there are injuries, but in that building, I mean, Jordan Love historically has played really, really well in Lambeau. It's a hard place to go in as an opposing team, and I wrote about this the other day, like, they've gone into Arrowhead and won. They've gone into Tampa, into that place with the pirate ship and won,
Raymond James Stadium.
Raymond James Stadium. And I mean, those are 3 really tough places to play. Tampa doesn't lose a lot of games at home, and same with the Chiefs and Packers. And when you can win tough games against good teams on the road, I think that's when you can, you know, call yourself a contender. And they're 11-5 now since 22 on the road against winning teams, and that's the best record in the league. And that's really impressive stuff. There's only 3 other teams over 500, and they're 11-5. So, um, I think Nick gets these guys prepared to, he talks about whether it's a night game or road game or, the international game. They have a plan for any of this stuff. It doesn't phase them. I know their flight was delayed a few hours. They're just a very focused team, and Nick has his weaknesses, but I think one of his strengths is just getting his team to understand that, there's 17 games. You can't control what time the game is, what day of the week it is, where it's played, what continent it's played on. And you just go out and play football for 3 hours. The conditions, the weather, none of that matters. Just go out and play. And they buy into that.
Jalen Phillips said he was like a little emotional before this game,
I
which
heard
was
you ask
kind
him about that. Yeah.
of yeah, it was cool to hear him just talk about just kind of a new chapter in his life. And I did after the press conference was over. I was like, "Did your fiance give you any crap about saying this was the greatest thing to ever happen to you?" And he was like, "No, she understands what I meant." His pregnant fiance hearing him
Yeah.
talk about getting traded to Philly is the best thing to ever happen to him, but she apparently understands.
Yeah. I guess if the baby had been born yet, I could see that being an issue, but not quite yet.
Not quite. Anything else on defense you want to hit?
Um,
The only other thing I have, I just want to mention, Jair Alexander did not travel with the team. Uh, the knee injury popped back up. The word is that they wanted to kind of ramp him up and get him on a plan for the knee. Kind of curious to see where this goes with him. If you were expecting Jair Alexander to just be the answer, I think that's probably a little. You got to get those expectations in check a little bit. He's an option, just kind of like Michael Carter gives them an option, uh, but they have a bunch of options.
yeah, and he didn't cost you anything. To Howie, a 6 and a 7 are interchangeable, so you basically got a guy, bring him in for nothing and just see how it goes. I don't my hopes are not very high. This is a little concerning that he didn't even make the trip. I don't quite get that. Um, he's at his locker talking about how excited he is. It's gonna be a homecoming. He's gonna be like seeing all my old friends, and I don't know. It's weird. Um, I don't know if he had a setback with the knee somehow at practice this week. He wasn't on the injury report, so I don't think that's it. Um, if he just didn't practice up to the level that they were happy with, I don't know. It's just a strange circumstances, strange set of circumstances.
I agree. It's something worth monitoring over the next few weeks. Jacorian Bennett, by the way, was not activated to the roster yet. They have until next week to do that. I'm kind of surprised
Yep.
in general by that. I thought he would have gotten a shot by now, but I guess Adoree played well enough that they'll roll with him for next week.
I guess. Um, he played well, but again, Detroit's weapons are maybe a cut above the Packers' weapons. It's a little scary. They have elite wide receivers. The Packers don't. So challenge is enormous.
My last thing on defense, I thought Vic got a little too lax on that touchdown drive. I want to rewatch it, but it felt like they kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it seemed that way. Again,
But
I'll have to watch it too. I don't know if he was just trying to do everything he could to not give up a big play, ended up giving up a big play.
mhm.
I don't know. It
Yeah,
was but you could just see that drive coming, and, that's where you really want the defense and look, the defense was incredible tonight, so you don't
yeah,
wanna
they gave up 7 points.
give up 7 points, but that's where you'd love to see some complimentary football. Alright, the offense finally got a touchdown. Let's get a stop here and put an end to this thing. It worked out in the end,
Yeah,
and
and they
yeah,
got plenty of stops in this game.
they did. They were really, really good. Packers, I think, had 5 punts in a row at one time or 5 out of 6. Um, it was fun watching this defense. Yeah, it was just we haven't seen this kind of play up front. Well, at times last year with Milton and Sweaty, and at the end of the year, maybe the playoffs, but this was really encouraging, and you can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, it felt like identity type stuff
Yeah,
defensively. Yeah.
yeah, I like that.
All right, let's take a break. I want to talk offense and special teams when we come back.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today.
All right, back on the Eagle Eye podcast brought to you by Nissan. Reuben, Frank, and Dave Zangaro. Eagles win 10-7. Offensively, Rube, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. That first drive, you thought, okay, maybe this bye week did something. They figured it out. And then they fumbled the ball, and that was kind of it for the first half offensively.
Yeah, that was really it for quite a while. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing you were like, this looks great. They're gonna score 28 points today, 31 points, and this is gonna be a laugher. And they just didn't have another drive like that. I mean, I guess the one touchdown drive, it wasn't really a drive, it was two plays. Um, but yeah, they're just they just couldn't recapture that rhythm. Um, I think in a game like this, if you can't run the ball, it's going to look really ugly because they weren't taking shots down the field. Um, I think I kind of thought maybe, and look, Green Bay's run defense is a lot better than the Giants, but kind of think maybe they turned the corner with the running game against New York.
Yeah.
150 bucks. They had over 200 as a team, but they were kind of back to where they've been, especially after the first quarter. It was a good first quarter running the ball once again. And after that, it was just nothing there. And Saquon did have a couple long runs called back, penalties. Um, the one on Toth probably sprung him on the it was like a 21-yard run maybe.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not concerned with Saquon, I'm concerned with the running game.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But like you said, Lane wasn't out there for much of the game. Obviously miss him. I like Big Fred, but Lane's one of one. What a tough dude that is, by the way. He's
Lane
getting
coming back in.
kidding me? He's getting carted off. I mean, carted in, not off the field, but he was on a cart inside the stadium. And you look up in the fourth quarter, he's coming out on the field. Like, are you kidding me? This dude is a beast. And he was on the field for that, what should have been the kind of put it away drive. Wasn't, but ate a lot of clock and a lot of
Yeah, they
yards.
got the ball with 5:45 left, so it probably pretty ambitious to think that they're gonna run that clock down. Now that's what they were so good at last year, and they're just not that team right now
Yeah.
offensively, but they did kill what, like 3 minutes?
Yeah, maybe more than that. Yeah. I just kept waiting for, like, Saquon to go for, 25 yards and just, you know, everybody take a deep breath, but it just never happened.
Yeah, never did. The cool thing with Lane, I was watching him on the sideline. So first he's just sitting there and you're thinking, "Well, he's done for the day. He no one's even checking on him." And then, like, midway through the second half, you see him start to, like, stretch a little bit. And you're like, "Oh man, he's gonna try to come back in this game," because obviously there's a drop off from Lane to Fred, but the other element of that is it takes away their jumbo package with
Right.
having Fred as the extra lineman. So it's kind of twofold when you lose one of your starting tackles. So it was like big to get him back for obvious reasons, but also because it opened that package back up to them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Did you have a chance to talk to Lane?
No, I didn't see him in the locker room.
I mean,
He was probably getting treatment.
he was in so much pain. I mean, you see his face in the close-ups going off the field. Never see Lane like that. You never see him stay on the ground. He's such a tough dude. He'll play through anything. So to see him like that was like, uh-oh. I mean, it's only natural to start thinking, is this a season-ending thing? Ankle, and it was ugly. I mean, the dude, who was it, 33 or 23? I forget who it was, but he came flying in low and just
Yeah, he
really
got chopped.
took his right into his ankle. It was ugly. Um,
My first thought, honestly, was when we heard it was ankle, good.
Yeah,
that it wasn't a knee, because that was my initial thought watching the replay was, "Oh, that
sure.
might be a knee," and that could be pretty significant.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. But hopefully I didn't really have any sense of how he played when he came back, if he was, if he was less than 100%. I mean, he was limping pretty bad leaving the field. Um, I'm just getting the TV copy, so I really couldn't tell how he played on that last drive, but, I mean, no disrespect to Big Fred, but Lane Johnson at 80% is your best option as a right tackle.
Yeah. Eagles numbers in this game: Jalen Hurts 15 for 26, 183 yards, that one touchdown, passer rating of 92.3. This was not his best game. I think we can say that. Like, even some of the balls he did, even the ball to Smitty, the touchdown, like, even that was underthrown. Like, I just thought he was off today.
Yeah. Yeah, he just was off. He was wild high on a bunch of, sideline patterns.
Mhm.
Um
Even like his one completion was across the body to Dallas Goddard, such a dangerous throw.
Oh, yeah.
He missed Grant Calcaterra up the seam.
Yeah, overthrew that one. I mean, I don't know if Grant would have caught it, but,
It was
um,
wide open.
give him an opportunity. Yeah, he was wild high. He just missed guys, and, he's been playing so well, and look, he had the fumble, but once again, I mean, he put the ball in harm's way a few times, but did not throw an interception. Um, he has that ability to, no matter how bad things are going, to make plays at the end of games, and he did that. Um, did it when he had to. The numbers are pretty ugly.
Yeah, I mean, he he did it. Yeah, you're right. But like, to me, it was more like individual efforts by Saquon Barkley and Devontae Smith.
Well, yeah, the Saquon one, definitely. I mean, go down in the box score as a 41-yard bomb, uh, but it adds to that 40-yard stat. The ball only traveled about. I did like that he looked to the right and kinda looked to the left, and Saquon was just over there just waving at him.
Heck
And
of
he
a spin move.
got it to him. The spin move, that was sweet
He
because he
just
didn't
has
even have the
such a
first
knack in
down.
open space, man. Like, he gets an open space and he everything just flows so well, and he kind of like sets him up for that spin move. And it's
Yeah.
funny because like I'm in the locker room asking Saquon about how he knows to spin, and he's like, I don't know, just do it."
Did you see him stutter step before he
Yeah.
did the spin move?
Hmm.
That was brilliant. Like, I mean, who does that?
He set
Uh,
him up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, once he stutter step, he doesn't know which way you're going, and he didn't even have the first down, like, he did the spin move before he got to the sticks. So, like, and then once he got past him, there was just open space for 30 more yards, but, um, any way you can get him the ball. I like Saquon as a receiver. He's not like a natural receiver as far as catching the ball, but once he gets in his hands, man, he's dangerous,
Yeah,
and, I mean,
that
he's a
guy
guy
in
that
open
once.
space.
Yeah. I was just looking here. I mean, he's a guy who once caught 90 passes in a season. Um, didn't have
His rookie
anybody else.
season, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um, so he's got more 40-yard catches this year than AJ. Let's
How about AJ blocking though downfield? And he
Yeah.
doesn't want credit for that. He always says that. We talked to him after the game. He's like, I don't want credit for the blocking. It's what you have to do. But it, yeah, like those are important blocks. And uh, I think at times AJ's body language isn't great. We've seen that over the years, right? But like in a moment like that where they need him to get a block, he does it.
Yeah, and I think he does want credit. I think he just says that to kinda come across,
I don't think he does. I
I
think he like almost finds it embarrassing when we talk about his blocking.
maybe,
Yeah, I think he's like, I'm the one of the best receivers in the league. I don't want you to talk about my blocking. I think he's sincere about that.
maybe it's something to be it's not I think it's something to be, lauded. I think I mean, he's very good at it. He's just a physical player, period,
Mhm.
and whether he's running a route or going up for a jump ball or blocking, it's
Yeah.
just the way he plays the game.
And it's so those are the two biggest offensive plays of the day. And he doesn't get a stat for either of them, but he blocks downfield on that Saquon catch and run. And then on the Devontae play, Xavier McKinney is glued to him, eyes glued to AJ, and that's what gives Devontae the one on one with the safety down the field. And Jalen even gave a little like it wasn't even a pump. He like kind of like pumped his shoulder, and it just froze McKinney enough to hit him over to the top. I mean, so it's like even his presence on the field, and I look, it's not good enough. He needs to be a bigger focal point of the offense. They need to throw him the football more, but his presence is still a positive on the field.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Micah Parsons, 1 solo tackle, no other stats. One assist, 2 total tackles, 1 solo, 1 assist.
He's good though, man. He
He
had
is.
that one inside move on Jordan Mailata. He was so quick.
Yeah. But I thought they neutralized him. Like, he can be a game wrecker.
Mhm.
Like, he can just wreck game, and they didn't let that happen. Um, I thought Jalen moved well in the pocket, which he hasn't always done this year. Um, I don't believe he got sacked, and, you know, it wasn't a thing of beauty for Jalen, but, against that player and that defense, it can get really ugly, and he didn't let that happen.
Yeah, I agree with that, and that is a good defense. Jalen said it's the best defense they've faced all year. Okay, yeah, I mean they have really good players at every level. I think that's what it stands out to me about this Packers defense is like they have a stud on every level at least. They have McKinney on
Yeah.
the back end. They have Edrin Cooper at linebacker, who's fantastic, and then obviously up front they have Michael Parsons. So it's like they have a legit Pro Bowl, All Pro player at every level.
They do. McKinney was pretty good today. The official stats have the Packers with no quarterback hits, along with no sacks. I thought the O line protected as well as they could, in that building against that defense.
Oh, I have a very important update.
Yeah.
I was in the locker room on Saturday. 64 is walking my way. I said, Brett, how do you say your name? Brett Toth. We're right.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Okay. Because somebody else called him Toth.
I think was it Kelsey? Jason Kelsey?
Yeah, it was Kelsey.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. He was only his teammate for 5 years.
Yeah, Brett Toth.
Yeah,
He said he doesn't
interesting.
really care if people call him Toth, but he says Toth.
Well, thank you for that legwork.
Hmm.
That's why we keep you around.
Well, it's pretty funny. I'm like, Brett, I've known you for 6 years. How do you say your name again?
That's a good one. Yeah. Um, yeah.
Where's your concern level with the offense in general, and then with Kevin Patullo as a play caller? Because like some of these issues, like yes, that is a good defense, but I don't know, like you thought they figured some stuff out before the bye week. Even in this first drive, you're like, okay, maybe they know who they are, and then to see all the three and outs, to see it just kind of disintegrate the way it did, it is concerning.
It is, and I did not expect them to regress to the level that they did after the way the Vikings game and the second Giants game went. Um, so yeah, it's concerning, and the the Saquon thing is confounding to me. I still believe, and by the way, I'd like Shipley getting in the mix. I like him as a player. Yeah, he made a really nice play on that 11-yard catch for the first down on
Oh
third
yeah,
down.
across the field like scramble drill.
Yeah, 3rd and 10. That's not an easy play. That's a guy who hasn't played a lot of football, really.
Yeah, got both feet down. That was a nice play.
It was.
Sometimes when you're like long striding like that, you kind of lose your feet a little bit, and he didn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. Not a long strider, but yeah, I'm concerned, and I was pretty encouraged after those 2 games going into the bye, and I get that the conditions weren't great. It was cold. Was it snowing at all during the game?
There were some flurries early. I don't think so. The field was an issue because I guess it was so cold, and then at night it got slippery.
Yeah.
Um, I'm thinking some players had to probably change in the studs, which most players don't want to do, but there were a lot of guys slipping early in this game.
So maybe that was part of it.
Remember that it was like Jordan Mailata as a puller, then Saquon a few times.
Yeah.
Guys were just slipping a little bit.
Yeah. It was a
Feel like
good
they were
run.
back in Sao Paulo.
Uh, wasn't it, Glendale? Where was it was it worse than Sao Paulo?
Well, I was just saying because the Eagles played the Packers in Sao
Oh,
Paulo on a bad field.
oh, yeah. They played the, Chiefs in Glendale on a bad field.
Yeah, that
Too
was
many
the
bad.
Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I was there, um, as were you. Yeah, I'm concerned. My level of concern is, like a 7.
Yeah. Now the one, and I always go back to this, like the one reason it's probably not higher is because they just have so much talent. And like even in this game where they couldn't get anything going, eventually their talent got them a couple big plays and they won the game.
Yeah.
And Devontae, just I had a fun moment with Saquon. I don't know if you guys ran any of it, but I asked him if he subscribes to the idea that someone is clutch. We're talking about like Devontae making these plays, and he said yes, but he also said anyone who is clutch will remember all the times they weren't. Like those times kind of stick with them because you're never going to make all those plays
Yeah.
all the time. So he said like he feels like they have a lot of players who are clutch, but they get that way through not making the plays here and there.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And then he
Devontae,
also said, I think some people forget that Devontae Smith won the Heisman. Like he's really good.
he's really good, and, you look at the other receivers in the NFC, and, I mean, there's just so many good ones, but, man, I'll take this guy on my team anytime.
Special teams. I just want to hit it before we finish up. Weird special teams day.
Yeah.
Some good, some bad. Braden Mann had a great punt, and then he had an awful punt. It was funny. I saw the Puntalytics guys on Twitter say, for a game with this many punts, not a lot of good punts.
Yeah, I thought that was a 31-yarder, 34-yarder.
Hmm.
Might have been, I think I messaged you, might have been the worst punt he's ever had as an Eagle. He's been so good and so
And it followed up
consistent.
the 66-yarder, which was a boomer.
Yeah. I would have loved to seen what he could have done from the, on that 4th and 8 and get the ball at the 3 or the 5. Um, Michael Clay might wanna go over when to field a ball near the goal line. They really lucked out on that one.
They did. I It's funny because I saw like I saw what Xavier Gibson saw, and I get why that is tempting. Uh, because there was a lot of field over there,
Yeah.
but man, you can't touch that football.
No, and, the Packers guy clearly stepped on the goal line
Mhm.
before, he batted it back to the 2 or whatever. But, yeah, definitely a teaching point there.
But that 18-yard return, a really big return.
Yeah.
It got them out of some in the backed up territory. He gave the offense some room to work.
Yeah. No, he's got some ability. I just don't know. Yeah, he's got some ability.
Jake Elliott made his only kick. How long was that? It was
38?
39. Yeah.
Man, I'm always off by 1 yard. But that ended up being a really clutch field goal. I mean, that was the difference in the game. It's good to know that their 64-yard field goal defense is spot on. Did you see his, McManus's first attempt? And
Yeah.
Nick was mad because apparently you're not allowed, they changed the rule, you're not allowed to do that anymore. You can't take the kick.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
unless it's like super close,
right.
as you're like
Um,
calling it. But there, it was not close. They
it
called
was
timeout and then he kicked it.
yeah. I don't know why that wasn't a penalty. Nick was not happy about that, but that kick was like it was close. I mean, it was short, but it was only just short, a few yards.
His next one was not.
It was not, we thought it got blocked because it was so off kilter, but it was just, yeah, it was bad.
It was really bad. My favorite moment from this game, Keely Ringo was getting into it on the Packers bench with like someone after a play as a gunner. And the only other Eagle over there to helped take him away was Braden Mann. So you see Braden Mann trying to grab on the 205-pound Keely Ringo and pull him back to the Eagles sideline. It was a funny moment.
That's a good one.
Yeah. That's all I got. It was cold here. It, the players said it wasn't that bad. It was pretty cold. We were down on the field early, and sun was out early, and it felt okay. The sun went down. It it got frigid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing they were up against that, could be a factor. Like, the Eagles haven't really practiced in cold weather. Like, you can't have
It was 60 degrees in Philly this week.
but, like, all the whole fall has been pretty warm,
Yeah. It was also
and
60 degrees in Green Bay a few days ago too.
that's true, but, like, they haven't practiced. Like, you can pipe in crowd noise, but you can't pipe in coldness. You can't, like, refrigerate the bubble. So it's something that they really haven't dealt with, like, so, I mean, that's and I know nobody's gonna talk about it or use an excuse, and they shouldn't, but, um, could have been a factor. I don't know. You got a short week and the Lions coming in. They got a lot to figure out.
They do. We'll get into that during the week because it's another really big game against an NFC opponent. When we're talking about seeding at the end of the year, like these are the games that end up meaning a lot. But hey, it's a win in week 10. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Well, just they're 7-2. I think Seattle's really good, but Seattle has one more loss in the conference than the Eagles, so it doesn't really mean anything to say they're the number 1 seed now, but they would be if the season ended now. Um, I know, look, the Rams are really good, Detroit's really good, Tampa's good. I think it's gonna come down to the Eagles and Seahawks in this
Yeah.
conference.
They're doing a good job. They're putting themselves exactly where they need to be. It hasn't been perfect by
No.
any stretch, but you said at the beginning of the show, like if you're going to play a game like this, you might as well win it, and they did. Uh,
Safe travels home tomorrow.
Thanks. And last thing for me, a lot of Eagles fans made this trip. This was not an easy trip. It's never an easy trip to get to Green Bay with all the flight cancellations. It was even tougher. So a lot of the people we saw here, Eagles fans, they were driving from God knows where after their flights got canceled. So credit to the people who showed up and were loud in this game.
Good for them.
All right, for Reuben Frank, I'm Dave Zangaro. This has been Eagle Eye presented by Nissan. Eagles get a win 10-7 over the Packers. We'll talk to you soon.